I recognize who I am, and who I am is not that little bitch who I am is not the little bitch that's gonna like give up.
Yeah.
That's just a thought.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Who I am is the dude who's not gonna stop, and the dude who's gonna push forward and fight through anything. So that's kind of the biggest thing that helped me. And then once I started to do that, I just found different ways to just think differently, to just be more free, be more loose, not put too much pressure on myself.
So would you say that kind of mental state goes into the physical? So if you're like really tired and then you switch up that mental state, like so technically what you're trying to say is that you're not identifying with the person. Say, for example, when you're sparring, it's like, oh, I'm getting tired. Wait a minute, I'm not that guy. Right? It's more of like an identity.
Yeah.
It's more like, wait, what do you mean? We're only like 5 rounds deep, 5 minutes in or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a very interesting thought, and I think it's very, very helpful for fighters all around.
Yeah,
because
100%.
when you see like a beginner fighter, even intermediate fighters, they're all stiff and shit, and you know that they're into their heads.
Yeah.
They're overthinking so much, right? It's almost like I was reading this book, like Daniel Kahneman and Think Fast, Think Slow, and then you just have to, like, it's pretty much we practice to get things second nature to us, right?
Yeah.
But then there's an added to that, which you just reiterated in the beginning, which is like spirituality and like really like shifting your identity into your, like what we talked about before this podcast, is that you're not your circumstances now.
100%.
You can completely shift that right now to being like who you think you want to become, or who you want to become in the future, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, dude, that's a really great point. So going back to the whole Merab thing, since, you know, it did get a lot of like views and stuff like that, what is it that you learned from just sparring with him? Not in just that video, but probably your overall take on just being around him and sparring him.
So I learned how to pace myself. He's really good at chain wrestling. And if you try to force too much, like if you try to force your way out of a chain wrestling like situation with him, you're going to get really tired. So I learned how to pace myself. You know, there's plenty of, like, if I give all my energy to defend his takedown, then maybe I can defend the first or second takedown.
Yeah.
And then when he goes the third and the fourth and the fifth, then it's like, wow, I have no energy. So I learned not to force anything. And that's what he does. You know, that's what Merab is really good at. And that's what he's told me, is that he doesn't force anything.
Can you go more into that? This is like a wealth of knowledge that I'm pretty sure fighters like when they're in there, because like we were talking about, we're chaining knowledge together, right? Pretty much. It's almost like this from the spirituality thing that makes you a free-flowing fighter to just don't force anything. Can you talk more about that? Because I obviously that's more physical than it is mental.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, it's mental for me when I'm sparring Merab.
Yeah, sure.
Because the thing is like, it's actually crazy. Like if you know, anybody who's kind of been aware of the thing I'm talking about, you know that like if you're tired and then you tell yourself, oh, I'm tired, I'm gonna go slow down, do this, do that, you know, then it's just like it's like a snowball effect. You keep going downhill. But if you're tired and you're like, no, what? Fuck this. I don't care how tired I am. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep pushing through. You see a difference. So I would say I've just, you know, I've learned to accept in life.
Okay. Yeah.
So not just in fighting.
Sure.
So if I die tomorrow, I accept that. You know what I mean?
Dude, I love that. Dude,
if
I love this shit.
If I leave here and the worst thing in the world happens and I get a phone call that somebody I love passed away, it would break my heart, but I accept that.
You accept it.
I cannot be attached to outcomes in life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Brother.
I cannot.
That's heat.
Yeah.
Yep.
I cannot be attached to outcomes in life. I cannot be like, man, if I'm not UFC champion in the next 10 years, I failed in life. That's not how I look at it. Yep. And that's the same thing with fighting. If I defend a takedown and Merab takes me down, I don't look at it as like I failed. I'm like, I just got taken down. And now I'm going to figure out how I can get up. And if I get held down, well, I did fail if my goal was to get up. But like, I'm not going to let that get to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, that's what happened, you know, that's what happens to every person Merab fights. You see it. They do well in the beginning.
Sure.
They, you know, maybe they clip them, maybe they do this, they do that.
It's like, I got him.
And then it's like, I got him.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait a minute. I thought I was doing well. And then it's a snowball
There's fucking
effect.
4 minutes, 30 seconds to go. What the hell?
It's a snowball effect.
Yeah. You know what, man? Fuck. That's so powerful about, you know, the accepting thing, because it's a lot of what, you know, I've been thinking about, right? Because of especially with recent circumstances with, like you said, with maybe a family member, something tragic happening to them or anything like that, or a health crisis that you or anyone goes through, me in particular too.
Yeah, 100%.
That's not up to you.
Yeah.
Right? You have to trust in your faith. And I've gotten more spiritual as well over the past year. And it's really helped out with all endeavors of my life, with the podcasting, with the even fighting. Yeah. It's more, I would say, intentional.
Yeah.
Why? Because if you accept it and leave it to someone else's hand, whoever you believe in, you don't have nothing to hang your head on, and you could just focus on what you do without worrying about outcomes, right? I fucking love that, man, because the thing is with outcomes is that we're not entitled to them.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, you could be the smartest fucking person and not get into Harvard.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Yeah.
100%. And shout out to you on, what I mean? I know you've battled health issues and you've still been showing up to the gym every single day.
It's keeping me alive.
Yeah, 100%.
Honestly.
And then what the thing, what's really helped me with acceptance is accepting my full 100% belief is that this is not the only life. Once we pass away, there's a whole nother world. Yeah. There's a whole nother side of this. There is no possible way that there's just a black screen when we die. I mean, that is not what happens.
I've seen stuff on YouTube where it's like, those near death experiences. I believe it. It's almost you've seen like almost the light at the other end of the tunnel, and then you're just a form. You're just like, you know what I mean? What's it called? The simulation of what you see in life. Like, that's pretty much what you see. When we're talking right now, you see it way differently than I do, right? Which is 100%. Crazy. Like, whatever I'm saying to you, you filter it different. Whatever you're saying to me, I'm filtering it different because based on my experiences.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is like a gnarly thing to think about. Yeah. So, when it comes to, again, with fighting with Merab, because I'm pretty sure that, again, a lot of people, especially beginners and up and coming fighters, I mean, they see that video and I think they know that they can learn a lot from it. Yeah. It's almost like, damn, dude, like, who is that fucking guy? Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. If I didn't know you, I'd be like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's one of the coolest things, man. And I just have to say that I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky that Merab wanted to spar me, saw, the look that I could give him. Obviously, I find it so fucking funny. The people in the comments are hilarious.
Yeah. The comment
section. You guys have no idea how good Merab is. Some people were saying that like I was winning. I was like, bro, Merab was going easy on me. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of the round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I definitely think that I can, give Merab, different looks and different problems that he's going to see in the fight. But like, man, the Sean O'Malley fans are really casual. And Sean O'Malley fans, I love you guys. Yeah. You guys are hilarious. Yeah. I don't,
They're about that, like, the branding part of it, right? It's almost like they like the look. They like, I mean, that's why in the UFC, it's Colby Covington wrestling syndrome, right? WWE wrestling syndrome.
Yeah.
He was about to get cut from the UFC, but hadn't he not done that? Of course, he went on like this crazy fight winning streak. But then had he not done that, he was cut completely. Yeah. If he hasn't talked all that shit.
I know, 100%.
And what I noticed with you, and since we're in like the creative space now, you know what I mean? We're both doing content and stuff like that. It's interesting because it's almost something that you have to do. Yeah. Because just like the casual Sean O'Malley fans out there, they don't understand the workings of a business. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's almost like, wait, why is he doing that? It's like, well, it's marketing, motherfucker. 100%. If you're not like say YouTube, if you're not 80% of what people don't understand, oh, that's such a clickbaity title. If you don't package it right, how can you get the people to watch your content to get value out of it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what gets clicks. Yeah. But then you have to deliver on that promise. Yeah, you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like, I just thought that was interesting. I thought it was just like a big topic to talk about. Like, from that sparring session, and I know I've asked this in a different way earlier, what is it, Merab, that makes him good? I know that, like, with the wrestling, he never gets tired. That's what gets talked about the most.
Yeah.
But is there more to that other than just that? What's the one skill set that people don't realize that he has other than unbreakable, unstoppable cardio?
Yeah, well, it's
and wrestling.
It's how smart of a fighter Merab is. It's his fight IQ.
Yeah,
that's his number one attribute.
Yeah, can you go into that more? Because that's like a big one, especially for casuals that think it's just all about the knockouts and they don't know what's going on with wall work or cage work and stuff like that. Yeah.
So it's so funny. It's like Merab has everybody confused. Everybody thinks of him as like this just hard-headed, dude who just will like just not stop, which he is that, but what he also is one of the smartest fighters in the UFC.
Yeah.
There's a reason he doesn't get tired. He does have insane cardio, and he is obviously built different than other people. Yeah. But he also fights in a way that allows him to do that. You do not know what's happening when you fight him, when you spar him. That's the thing about him. You don't. He's a puzzle. You're like, am I winning right now?
Right.
Or is he beating my ass? Or am I going to get tired in 10 seconds? It'll hit you like a truck. You'll be doing good, and then 10 seconds later, you'll be dead. And then he'll be on top of you, just pounding you. You know what I mean? He has everybody confused. If you go back and you watch the first Sean O'Malley fight, guys, why was Merab backing up? For the first round, Merab was just circling, backing up. Yeah. Usually it's the shorter wrestler dude who's going forward. Why was Merab doing that? He has everybody confused.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle.
Interesting.
Some people are straightforward. Like there's like another Georgian fighter, Ilya Topuria.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get. You get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
He comes forward and he has power and he has nasty combo and he has nasty boxing.